Hello everyone, in this video I'll be talking about my Neovim configuration and just going through it and talking about some interesting stuff about it. So if I open up this terminal real quick, I can run Neovim and it brings up this page. So this is one of the plugins I have called Dashboard, which I'll talk about in a second. But I can go down here and I can click enter and it takes me to init.lua. Now this is actually a file in my Neovim directory. It should be .config nvim lua init.lua, and then it just basically lets me configure Neovim. Now usually for Neovim you would use something called init.vim, and you can find that on my Vim OC. So if I type in edit my Vim OC, you can see all it's doing is it's requiring init, which is this file right here. So I'm just requiring this file, and yeah, it looks like that. Now, let's start going through this. So all of this stuff is basically just a way to get the plugins working. So we have here a path where Packer, my plugin manager, is going to install all the files. So it's this directory right here, and then we have this, which basically just says if Packer isn't installed on my system, I'm just gonna install Packer with git. So you can see git clone Packer, stuff like that. I'm gonna create an AU group called Packer, and basically what's gonna happen right here is when I save this file, when I save init.lua, it's gonna source it, which means it's gonna source, like, reload Neovim to this new configuration, and it's going to compile the Packer packages. Stuff like that. So down here is where I plug all my extensions. And I have quite a few, and I'll go through them as we go down the list. So here I have some options where you can see vim.o, that means options.clipboard. So Clipboard, setting Clipboard as a name plus allows me to copy text from elsewhere. So, let's say I open up a browser. I'll wait for this to load real quick. And I copy some text, like let's say afternoon right here. I can paste it into Neovim. It basically just shares my clipboard in Neovim with the rest of my system, which usually doesn't work, but if you set it to unnamed plus, it will work. We have ignore case, which just means when I'm typing out commands, like Packer, it doesn't care about cases, so it won't care about uppercase or lowercase, stuff like that. Lazy redraw just makes it so that when I have a macro, I don't have to wait for the screen to redraw. Like, it doesn't have to redraw everything, it can go a lot faster. Number sets these line numbers at the left right here, and relative number makes it so that my cursor is always in the middle. So you can see instead of going from like counting from 0 to like down to the bottom of the page, it counts from where my cursor is, and this is -1, -2, -3. It goes backwards and forwards, which is pretty neat. Shift width, I usually like two space tabs, so it just makes my code a little bit cleaner, I feel like, because it's not taking as much horizontal distance. And I have split below, split right, which means that if I'm going to split something, it'll split underneath. And then if I do v-split, it splits to the right. Usually it's to the left and it's to the top. And I just like going below and to the right. Tab stop 2, this works in conjunction with shift width, which makes my tabs 2 spaces. And I have term GUI colors, which means that you can get some pretty nice colors in here. It's not just the base 64 colors. Update time is 100. This just allows a plugin I have called Git Signs to run Git messages faster. If you don't set it to 100, which I'll show later on, if you set it to like, I think the default is 2500, it means it takes 2.5 seconds to update like the screen, which means that some plugins will run a bit slower. My map leader is just the space character. I like using space because it's easy to reach, and it's like it allows you to get a lot of different combinations. And as you can see down here, these are my key maps. So basically, sort of like macros, or like just basic stuff like key bindings. When I have space, no op. Not actually quite sure what this one does. I might have to look through it. Lido W. WASD. I have these keys as keys to toggle around between different windows. So let's say I do a split and I do a V split. What you can see is space A brings me to the left, which is basically what my keyboard is laid out as. Space D goes to the right, space W goes on top, and space S goes to the bottom. And this just makes it easier to jump around windows, like that. And down here I have J, K, and Q. So this is for tabs. For instance, if I do new file, I have a new tab right here, and I can use I can use J to go back one tab, and I can use K to go forward one tab. So J and K go back and forward, and space Q just closes a tab. X. Space X shows me diagnostic errors. So stuff like if I'm opening another file and there's an error in it, I can expand the error into its own window. I can probably show that real quick. Let's go. I don't know. A.cpp. If I make this and I can do include, I'll spell something. I'll like not spell something right. And if I press space X, you can see it opens up this neat little diagnostic window, and it just makes it easier to see error messages. That's all. Leader slash. This clears the search. So let's say I search for leader, right? And I search for that. It just basically says that if I want to clear it, I can press space slash, and it just clears the search. Leader Y just yanks the entire file, so it just copies all lines, all 324 lines. J and K. This is actually quite true. It's actually quite cool. If I have a line that wraps across the entire page, which might take a while. There we go. I can press J and K to go up and down. So usually without this will just jump directly to line 66. It'll jump, because this is technically one line, so it'll jump past that line down to 66, like so. But now with this, it sees if the line is wrapping around, and if it is, we're just gonna jump to the next line down, like so. Pretty nice. Leader L, it opens up a terminal. Pretty basic. Leader escape. What does that do? Oh yeah, in terminal mode. If I open up a terminal and I press space escape, it allows me to jump around with normal Vim commands. It basically exits terminal mode and puts me into normal mode. So you can see if I press I, it brings me into terminal mode, but I have no way of exiting this terminal unless I type in exit, like actually type in exit, which is kind of time consuming, because I just bound it to space escape and I can jump around. And leader V. So leader V, it just brings up this page. It just opens up init.lua. Pretty basic. And down here, oh, this is pretty nice. So as you can see down here, I have a couple of language-specific stuff. And this allows me to build and compile with the key bindings space B and space E. B for build and E for execute. So let's take a look at CPP right here. Build, it runs this G++ command, and execute, it basically takes that file, it strips off the CPP extension with this :R, and then it runs the file within the directory. So I can show you that real quick. Let's say I make a basic C++ program. Alright, so I have this C++ program, and if I press space B, it'll open up this build. Now, it might take a bit for the first one, yeah. But it builds the file, and I can press space E to execute the file. And you can see it says hello world down here. And I have that for a bunch of other languages. As you can see, JavaScript doesn't actually have a way to build, I guess. So I just have an execute function, and this for loop just goes through and it says, given the file type, I want you to make that command, like normal remap or something. So down here I have buff-write pre. Oh, this is format on save, which is really neat. So you can see it says before, so like pre, so like before we write to the buffer, if the file is one of these extensions. So there's quite a lot of extensions: C++, CSS, Golang, HTML, stuff like that. If it's one of these file extensions, I want to run formatting sync, which just basically says format but synchronized on the buffer. So it'll format the file on save, or right before I save, I guess. Insert enter, insert leave. This sets relative number. So as you can see, when I'm in normal mode, I mean, these numbers are relative. As I talked about earlier, the numbers are relative, meaning that up here are negative and up here are positive. But if I go into insert, it's like absolute positioning. It's like 0 is all the way at the top of the file, and it just counts down. So this is line 96. If I do this, it means that 12 above this is that line. So if I type 12k, it'll jump me to that line, as you can see. And this just basically says that when I open a terminal, it automatically puts me in insert mode. Or else I have to press I every single time to open that, which is kind of stupid. So yeah. I have a couple of commands here, Vim commands. These define symbols for diagnostic errors. As you can see in C++ here, if I forget a semicolon or something, it has this nice little bullet point. I think it's normally an E, but I don't really like the look of the E, so I just changed the symbol. Not much. This is a Discord presence. Oh yeah, so this was all of like the stuff that inside Neovim that you can configure. Everything underneath this is plugin configuration. So I sort of sorted out my file like that, my init.lua like that. We'll call it presence.setup, or :setup. This just means that we're gonna set up the presence extension. I have a couple of options in here, like the image text, the log level, some stuff like that. The color scheme I'm using is Cat Puchin. It's a really nice color scheme, and I have it, as you can see up here, I have it as my entire X monad color. Everything is basically Cat Puchin colored. So it's a really nice color scheme. You should check it out. I have a dashboard. This is a plugin you saw earlier. When I first open up Neovim, you can see that I have this really neat dashboard other than the default one, and that's what this plugin is doing. And yeah, this is basically just saying that if I press space M, it opens a new file. Oh, so down here, I have Lua Snip, which is a snippet. It's like a thing that handles snippets. So like if I go into a.cpp real quick, let's say I do std, you can see it has these snippets that I can do. So like if I type in C out, I can press enter and it just auto completes the snippet. It's pretty nice. CMP. I'm not sure what CMP means, but it's basically another something else to help with this snippet library. It basically pulls up this it pulls up this little window right here that allows me to select what I want to use. Pretty basic stuff. Yeah, this is kind of weird. So control space just means that I can press control space and it brings up this window automatically. And enter means confirm. So if I press enter, it'll automatically confirm whatever I'm typing out. Tab and Shift Tab go back and forth between the suggestions. I can go back. I can go forward through the list with Tab and backwards through the list with Shift Tab. And yeah, that's that. Down here I have servos. These are language servos, and they help with stuff like autocompletion, error diagnostics, stuff like that. So I have a bunch of language servos like Bash, Clang. So this is C++ and C, CSS, Golang, Python, Lua, Tailwind CSS, and TypeScript. And basically, I have this for loop that runs through everything, and it installs the server. As you can see, I have this plugin called Nvim LSP installer, and it just installs it with that. I have some special configurations, like there's a global Vim in Lua files in init.vim. It can't detect that there's a variable called Vim. And my options right here, I actually have this table in Lua, which has a list of languages that I already have formatters for. So instead of formatting with this language server, I wanted to format with a different formatter, which I'll show you in a second. So I say that if this language is in one of these table elements, if it exists in this table, I want to set the capabilities of formatting to false, which means that this language server can't override a format from another formatter. Might be kind of difficult to understand. I have a couple of mappings. So I have leader H, which is hover. It shows me info about something, like if I press space H, it shows me this. Space I is a definition. So space I, you can see it shows me the definition. It brings up the definition in a new window, or a new tab, I guess, buffer. Space R, it's a rename. So let's say I make a variable, like int high equals low. If I whoops, that's not a int, that's a string. Yeah, so if I press space R, it allows me to rename this variable. Let's say hello, and you can see it renames all instances of the variable. Pretty neat, yeah. Null ls is a different language server I use, and this is purely for formatting and diagnostics. So as you can see down here, I have, hold on. As you can see down here, I have different diagnostic servers, like ESLint, AutoPep8, which is formatting, Pretty, which is also another formatting, and this is basically sets it up with these sources, which allows me to format and diagnose files with servers that are available with LSP installer. So basically just an extra language server for more functionality. Git signs, it shows me changes in Git, which I'm not sure if I can find a file that has Git in it, but it basically just shows up little tiny pluses, minuses, tildes at the side, about like what's changed in Git. So it's pretty nice. I have tabline, which is this super neat status line for Neovim. As you can see down here, I have this status about like normal and init.lua. I have these rounded corners, which look super clean in my opinion. And you can see down here, I have some options. And I'm using the Capuchin color scheme for this. They don't have a built-in color scheme, so I have to import some of the colors from Capuchin. Telescope. Telescope is an amazing plugin that allows you to fuzzy find files, variables, stuff, anything. Basically, it's just a fuzzy find of anything. So let's say I go like space T, which I have down here. Leader T is tree sitter. Let's say space T. I can look for anything inside of here. So I can search for, let's say tree sitter. Actually, maybe I won't find that. Let's search for Vim. Yeah, so as you can see, I can find anything that has to do with Vim. And I can search for stuff like telescope, and it just automatically finds that. It's so neat. And if I press enter, it'll bring me right to that. So that's tree sitter combined with telescope. And I have stuff like find files, and file browser. So if I press like space N, yeah, you can see it brings up a file browser that I can see. I can like go into stuff. Let's say I go into, it doesn't show config. I might have to reconfigure that later. But I can basically just search for a whole bunch of files through this plugin. And telescope is just amazing plugin. Tree sitter. Tree sitter is just like really advanced syntax highlighting and like stuff to do with syntax. So you can see all of these like colors and stuff. A lot of it has to do with tree sitter, and it's like tree sitter's job to like highlight stuff. And it just makes it super clean looking, super nice. Really good syntax highlighting. I have a bunch of different languages that I have syntax highlight for. Finally, I have Vim Commentary. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure what the package is. Hold on. Commentary. Oh, yeah, it is called Vim Commentary. So as you can see, space C just automatically comments out a line. So like Control / in VS Code. And finally, I have nvim auto pairs, which is just basically an automatic bracket pairing thing. Yeah, so that's the end of my init.lua file, and that is all 324 lines of my init.lua. It's a pretty big file. A lot of it is just random stuff, like all of this stuff. But yeah, I hope I just gave a brief overview of my Vim configuration. There's a lot of stuff going on here, so if you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I'll get to them. But anyways, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.